Well, it went all the way down in the Nike EYBL Scholastic this past weekend. Multiple teams, multiple players, multiple locations. And here to break it all down, it's ESPN Director of Recruiting, Paul Biancardi. Paul, my man, what's going on?
Jason, I've been waiting for this all morning. Let's go.
Yeah, a lot to talk about, a lot to
Yeah.
unpack, a lot to unpack. We are at the Marshall County Hoop Fest and also the Sunshine Classic. I got to ask you, well, let's back up because last year we had Montverde. They were just molly-whopping, dog walking, whatever you want to call it. Everybody, every game, every time they played, they were favored to win by a lot, right? This year, that is not the case. There is no dominant Montverde team in the league. Do you think that makes for, is that better viewing for you? For me, it is. I'm curious about your perspective.
Well, so many great teams in the EYBL Scholastic this year, and there's a lot more balance this year, as you just mentioned. Montverde's one of the top teams in the conference. Of course, they're not the same team that they were last year. You know, that team was pretty special, but it keeps it for a wide open race. Yes, it's more exciting from that standpoint. The dominant players that they had last year with the Cooper Flags, Derek Queen, Liam McNeely, Rob Wright, and those guys. That was such a special group of talent in the way they played together and the intensity that they played with just about every night. That's why they went undefeated, won Chipotle Nationals.
Absolutely. Did pretty well this weekend too at the Sunshine Classic.
Yeah.
What team in the two event? I know that's tough, but maybe teams. What team when you were watching this weekend, what team were you most impressed with?
I'll tell you who scares me.
Okay.
Link Academy scares me. If I got to play against them, I'm scared as a coach, meaning I'm scared in a good way, like the preparation of like, what can we do to stop these guys? Because we can't stop everything that they do, but what can we slow down? How can we scout them a little bit tighter than other teams? Because if they could not play their A game, Link Academy, and still beat you.
True.
Because they are the most talented team. They're the most loaded team in the EYBL Scholastic, in my opinion.
For sure.
Great backcourt with Hannah and Easter, and then Chris Senac Jr. in the middle, or put him on the corner, shooting threes. He's great in the post. Bynum has brought great energy to that club. So that's a team that I'm very impressed with, as I am IMG.
Yeah.
I mean, they got the bad boy in the backcourt.
Bad man.
Darius Jr., man. That dude, he has grown so much in the game. Like, he has matured on the court, and that's been the greatest progress. People say, well, what does he do well? What does he need to work on? He has mastered improving as a mature player. Now, it's not complete yet, but he's mastered the ability to be mature on the court.
Yeah.
And once he does that, it's bad news for the other team.
No doubt about it. No doubt about it. Those are two good ones for sure. I'm gonna stay with Montverde. Everybody's picked last year, but this year I say Montverde because the first game they looked like old Montverde. They won by 50. Second game they had Lehigh. Lehigh is missing Cayenne, as you know, but they were missing Hudson Greer. So they're both missing their stars. And Lehigh threw the first punch. They came out swinging. And, they found themselves down. They had to show resiliency, specifically in the fourth quarter. Boyle's adjustment to and defending the three-point line forced them into 12% in the fourth quarter. They were hot all game. Caden Mingo, lights out. Dylan Mingo, lights out. But in the fourth quarter, they really stepped it up defensively, and Dante Allen was spectacular in that game. So I think they were the team that really stood out to me because I think they proved something to themselves too. Their home crowd there, and they beat a really tough Lehigh team, even without Cayenne. So I was very impressed with them.
Yeah, I love Lehigh's perimeter players, right? They have four guards for basically three spots. You mentioned Cayenne. Don't forget Nigel James. That kid is a pit bull.
Bad man.
I would not want to play against Nigel James. But you're right about Montverde. We compare them to what they had.
Right.
So you're looking up, right? You're looking up at Cooper Flag and Queen and McNeely and Rob Wright. This is a really top-notch group on its own. This team could win it all this year again. Probably won't go undefeated. I love their chemistry, and I love the addition of CJ Ingram. I think he's brought a lot to the table. Dante Allen has showed that he's comfortable as a point.
Yeah.
Guy really impresses me, not with his mega points, but his play, his productivity is Trent Sisley going to Indiana.
Right.
Man, he gets rebounds. when he needs to for the team, offensive putbacks. He's a screener. And then everybody forgets about him and he'll knock down a face-up jump shot.
Absolutely.
I like what he's giving Montverde right now.
Yeah, utility guy, definitely junkyard dog, does all the things. He's what I like to call necessary to win for sure. So you're talking players. What other players stood out over the weekends in the two locations for the EYBL Scholastic?
CJ Ingram.
Yeah.
I mean, he had a double-double.
Yeah.
He's showing not only is he a high-level athlete, we know that because he was a star on the football field.
Yes.
And he's an elite vertical player, quickness, speed. He covers ground so quickly. But his skill level is catching up to his athleticism. He's becoming complete, and he can read the game. The game's starting to slow down for him. I know this was a late move to Montverde, but it's helped Montverde, and it's helped CJ Ingram. I'm high on him. In fact, we just had our rankings last week, and, he had a big move up in the rankings. Dante Allen, you cannot forget about Dante Allen. The kid wins everywhere he goes, man. You could play 2-on-2 with him, and he'll try to win that game and most likely will win that game. Doesn't matter where he goes. He can play with anybody. He knows how to affect winning. He's scoring, and he's comfortable as a point guard. So those two guys in particular, and also Jerry Easter. Yeah. Let's give Jerry Easter some love, man. What he did in a game this weekend with the 8 assists or 9 assists with the 19 points. Look, when Jerry Easter can figure out when to score, when to facilitate, and give his team a combination of both, he's a different player and Link's a different team.
Yeah. He talked to him in the preseason. In the preseason, he talked about how much he worked on his jump shot and just being more explosive going to the rim. Average of 18.7 assists and 6 rebounds this week. And I completely agree with you on that. 2-0 for Link this weekend. So that's definitely a good pick. Let me ask you this, because we talked about rankings. So in the Nike EYBL Scholastic, which is bar none the greatest league in high school basketball. Sorry, guys, it's the truth. It is what it is, right? So when you're in a league like that, how much does production in that league help your stock in the rankings when you're doing them?
Well, one of the first things you look for in a player is, can they do it? Do they have the ability to be ranked? Do they have the talent? Do they have the athleticism? Do they have the IQ? Then where do they do it? They have to do it somewhere first, right? Whether it's their local high school or the summer circuit or a camp. You have to see the performance somewhere. That's what I look for first. But then eventually, Jason, as you're going to start to, climb into the rankings, and let's revisit this one more time.
Yeah.
About 1,000 kids go Division I every year. 1,000 out of about over 100,000 seniors. Yeah. Okay. So to rank 100, okay, it's the elite of the elite. It's a hard group to get into. There's a lot of factors that go into it. But when you produce in the EYBL Scholastic, you open a lot of eyes. Yeah. You show that you can perform at the highest of high levels in high school. And that's going to carry over to the highest of levels in college. So to answer your question, it does factor into the rankings because they're producing against high-level competition that's going to the high majors in the college level.
Well said. Well said. EYBL Scholastic is in Columbia, South Carolina this weekend at the Bash, IMG, Legacy, and Oak Hill Academy. Undefeated Oak Hill Academy is in Columbia, South Carolina. What are you, real quick, what are you most looking forward to in that stop?
Their game against IMG Saturday night. Yeah. And you mentioned they're undefeated. They beat AZ Compass Prep early in the season. But that game Saturday night against IMG, that is going to be a test for Oak Hill. Yes, they have wins, some of them against just okay opponents.
Yeah.
But that test against IMG, can they handle the front court of Sadiq White and the young man from North Carolina, the junior, Cody Peck? And what are they going to do to contain Darius Acuff Jr. just to slow him down a little bit? Yeah. Now, the way to approach IMG is don't turn the ball over, get back on defense. Yes. That's the number one rule when you play an IMG or a Montverde, because if you make too many mistakes, game's going to be over before it starts.
Yeah, donezo, for sure. Well, we'll definitely be watching for all things Nike EYBL Scholastic and all things elite high school basketball, football, all elite sports. Tune in to League Ready. Paul Biancardi, we will be watching. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Jason.